Good morning, Mr. Drake, Mr. Go, and Madam Hong, and the distinguished good guests. On behalf of CM Park, which is the branch company of CMCC in Pakistan, I would like to offer my sincere gratitude to my parent company, CMCC, and of course, GTI, to invite me on this special forum to discuss about 5G evaluation and launching strategy in Pakistan. So, if you talk about this presentation today, we are going to focus, in fact, 3 areas. And the first one is about the importance of digital intelligent transformation. And we'll share about the brief influence of Pakistan's cellular and mobile industry. And we will introduce the best practices of our CMCC parent company, and we'll come with some challenges which we are facing at the moment, along with some suitable recommendations to the government of Pakistan as well as to the special forums like GTI. So, if we talk about this slide, we all know that the current trends of digital disruption through information revolution and energy revolution. This is about the intelligent transformation and decarbonization. As we all know that the use of mobile communication is growing radically with every passing year. The new reality is 5th generation of mobile communication technology. With the advancement toward IoT connectivity, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, solar power as the alternate choice of energy, the urgency for speed, bandwidth, and reliability are on the rise. Indeed, 5G transformation is the indispensable choice to achieve the desired objective of quality of service. It is projected by the end of 2026, 5G will attract around 3.5 billion subscriptions, generating around 45% of the world total mobile data traffic. So, this is something which is very useful for us to understand that how the trends are moving forward with the passage of time, and especially the energy revolution in this area, especially the solar energy and the wind power would be the indispensable choice for upcoming days. This is something more about, we all know about the digitalization. There are 4 types of values actually we talk about. One is social value, economical value, industrial value, and the business value. So, interestingly, you will find out the proven relationship between, the ICT investments and the GDP growth. The more you're going to invest, the more the GDP growth we are going to expect. So, especially there's a good news, for the developing countries. Like for every $1 spent on ICT, GDP increased by around 4.5 US dollars. So this is something good news for developing countries like Pakistan. That the more investment we're going to do, the more the growth is going to be expected. Okay, when we talk about this overall digitalization framework, so the good news is that Pakistan is one of the country who has the manifesto to promote the knowledge-based economy and stimulate social economical growth using digital technologies and build holistic view, especially in the ecosystems. So this is something we have already in the pipeline work on this part, like other countries are doing in this part. Okay, this is a very useful slide, and it is going to describe that how the cellular mobile industry of Pakistan is performing, especially when we talk about Pakistan. It is the 5th largest country in the world in terms of population, with tele density 88%. One of the significant factors over here is that we have around 290 million, which is something, the total customer base, biometric verified customers. However, the country incredibly lacks in the field of mobile internet adoption, which is around 56.5%. Half of the mobile device owners avail broadband subscription. So this is something the lagging area as well as the opportunity area, for Pakistan as well. So when we talk about Pakistan, it is among the top 10 countries in the world where we have around 73 million smartphone users, and the smartphone penetration is around 31%. We have 4 operators in Pakistan, and CM Park, which is the parent, there are 4 operators in Pakistan, and simultaneously they are providing 4G, 3G, and 2G services. 5G is yet to be, launched, and we have done extensive trials in this area too. And Zong is the brand name of CM Park, and as I just explained, that it is the parent company we are the subsidiary of the parent company, and we are number 2 in terms of customer base and overall pioneer in conducting the overall 5G trials in Pakistan. So I remember in 2019, we had a test call, video call, and deployed one site, especially in my region, South region, on 5G for the 5G readiness. So these are some indicators which are going to help us that how the telecom sector is growing in terms of customer base, in terms of density, and of course in terms of revenues along with investments we have got it from the International Forum. This is a very important slide. It is actually explaining the spirit of our parent company, CMCC, and it's also going to share some best practices they have done, in China, and something which is extremely important for getting more information for Pakistan and the rest of the world. So when you talk about 5G, they started deployment 4 years back, and now overall 1.7 million 5G stations they have deployed with more than 700 million 5G users, and more than 18,000 2B commercial cases till first half of this year. So this is the trend of last 4 years progressing every year, right? And on the right-hand side, they have a very clear, strategy and the best practices. I would say that how they have initially launched, 5G. First of all, they focused on the top cities, and then nationwide, and then dense urban, the rural clusters. Similarly, they have done the multi-band coordination, 2.6G plus 700 megahertz, and then 2.6 plus 700 plus 4.9G. So similarly, for NSA, for the quick deployment at the initial phase, this is the roadmap, and for 2G, VoLTE, UNR, 900 farming. So it's all these things, and so the last important thing is they have done a lot of innovation in the green development sector, equipment level energy saving, site level energy saving, network level energy saving, and all is basically all based on the artificial intelligence platforms that enables end-to-end power saving. So it's a very good learning curve for us, for like Pakistan, and of course the rest of the world, to understand that how the 5G dynamics, especially in China, is going on. Okay, this is a slide which we have introduced here in this presentation, just to update here that Zong is, as I mentioned, the second largest operator in Pakistan. So the good thing is that when we talk about third parties tests, so consecutively 7 times we got first position, in terms of quality of service area. So in terms of the indicators like mobile network coverage, CS service experience, PS service experience, video streaming, interactive services, and network latency, the good news is that Zong is got 7 times, first position in the third party assessment. Now this is the last section of my presentation, and in which I'm going to discuss those challenges which speakers have also highlighted in their presentations, and specifically when I talk about spectrum allocation, especially in frequency bands in Pakistan, are limited as compared to other countries. For example, like us, Zong, we have around 67.2 megahertz in portfolio for all 3 technologies. And the important thing is that the cost of acquiring these bands is substantially very high. So it should come down to nominal level when we talk about 5G, because over there we would have very high demand of spectrum. Similarly, when we talk about all successful MNOs, need a spectrum portfolio at least around 100 to 150 megahertz in total. And as we all know that IM spectrum may have been enough for a successful MNO. However, this time when we talk about 5G, it would be indispensable choice for us to acquire more spectrum for better quality of service. So on the left, you see this table, which is giving us the idea that all the 5 operators, there's bands in each, in 850, 900, 1800, and the total band you can see over here. So it is strongly recommended, for Pakistan that they should have a goal to have at least 850 megahertz IMD spectrum allocated in low and mid bands. So I will come up in the next slide. So this is a very important slide for Pakistan, and it is going to tell us the insight and the future roadmap for 5G spectrum. So if you think about this 3.5 gigahertz, 2.6 gigahertz, 2.3 gigahertz. So if I talk about the first band, 3.5 gigahertz, it is assigned to WL operators till 2024. So you can see over here that most of the band is assigned to WL operators. It's going to be expired in 2024. So there's a chance that in 2024 we would have enough spectrum available in this area to start the 5G services when they were going to auction. Similarly, when we talk about 2.6 gigahertz, it's a very important band, but somehow this band is under litigation, and one TV operator has acquired most of the band. Similarly, there is at the moment there is no assignment in 2.3 gigahertz. So this is the spectrum situation of Pakistan in different bands, their total assigned bandwidth and availability. And on the right-hand side, we have highlighted the roadmap that in first phase of 5G, what should we do in fact to move toward the 5G side. For example, when we talk about the first phase of 5G, we will be needing immediate reforming for these bands for mobile communication. And the existing phase, we have some band available in 21 megahertz and 1800 megahertz, which is unused spectrum at the moment. So there is a possibility that this band is going to be auctioned by our regulator in upcoming days along with 5G. But there is a possibility of direct interference when we talk about 2100 megahertz. So in this case, interference mitigation would be required, because these are also the potential mid-bands for the 5G use, especially when we talk about 1.9 and 1.8. But not the least is 700 megahertz band is very precious band from coverage perspective, but somehow this is assigned to the confidential institutes of Pakistan. So for this part, there's a need to enhance the coverage. Mobile operators can use for future nationwide coverage, because this band is another opportunity for all operators in Pakistan to enhance their footprint. This challenge, just now the presenters has highlighted, and it's the same thing in Pakistan we're facing at the moment. You see from the affordability perspective, it is somehow we have a lot to do to make these 5G smartphones and other devices affordable in Pakistan. So if you see the trend, the global smartphone sales penetration trend, you see that in 2022, the 5G overall smartphones are increasing. And on the right-hand side, this is a very useful analysis of Pakistan, which is telling us that around 86% traffic, when we talk about our FTTH fixed broadband operator, Natel, you see 86.90% traffic is coming from smartphones. So this is something, a very useful indicator and potential, to describe about this 5G part in Pakistan. As we all know that around the smartphone penetration is around 31%. So this affordability of 5G handset is extremely important, in Pakistan, because right now the average selling price is much higher than that of 4G, and with increase of US dollar prices, this trend is going to increase more. So this is a very important point for Pakistan industry. This is specific to Pakistan, is a challenge nowadays. And when we talk about fuel prices and the energy crisis, right, in Pakistan, nowadays we are facing this problem, and the severity is very high actually. When we talk about the rural areas of Pakistan, there are around 14 hours of blackouts, and during this period of time, it is very important to maintain the required network availability. We normally use generators to, provide this power backup. So you can see that when we talk about the generators, we need fuel, and the fuel prices, when we talk about almost 89% fuel prices in this year have been increased. So this is one challenge. And at the same time, when we talk about commercial power, though the commercial power is limited, but if it is available, it is on a very high cost. And for that part, around 75% price of unit price is increased in Pakistan. So you can well imagine that what a big pressure of, in terms of cost reduction in Pakistan, specifically when we talk about. But the good thing for us, when we talk about zone, in terms of cost leadership, we are number one, operator in Pakistan to save the cost because of the already proven solutions we have opted, like lithium. With most of the sites we are deploying with lithium cells, and that is somehow making us somehow manageable to perform our cost of perform the operations at a lower cost. And of course, when we are going to talk about 5G, the power requirement is going to be double. As right now we have around 6.8 kilowatt power, and we are expecting that when we're going to upgrade our network, more likely 11.57 kilowatt power is expected. So this is a challenge. Of course, allocation of spectrum to operator is not the one area to be addressed. We need to see the 5G from all end-to-end perspectives, that how can it be meaningful for Pakistan. And on the right-hand side, when we talk about this fiber optics infrastructure, just for the information, we have around 45,000 towers when we talk about 4 operators in Pakistan. And 90% of the overall microwave backhaul is on microwave. Only 10% sites when we talk about are fiber. So the fiberization part is very important again. And but the good thing is that for CM Park, so we are progressing toward this fiberization part, and at the same time we are upgrading our overall sites, fiber to sites, especially in the metro areas. So the strategy is that as soon as the spectrum is going to be awarded, then at least the metro sites which are in the main cities would be suitable or would be eligible for immediate 5G commercial launch. So this is something, the challenge, the part which is important. And the last important challenge, I would say, is about the tower loading and the tower density. Because we know that tower loading is a critical consideration in the design and development of wireless communication infrastructure. So when we talk about 5G networks, they are using higher frequencies and smaller size compared to the previous generations. So which means more cell towers and antennas are needed to provide adequate coverage and capacity. So in this part, we have also done some homework that how the power loading analysis and especially the structural integrity of these towers to be maintained before we are going to launch this 5G, in Pakistan. This is my last slide. Actually, this slide is about the recommendations, especially for Pakistan, for an optimal approach to launch 5G services in Pakistan. Actually, when we talk about 5G success in Pakistan, it requires the joint efforts of all stakeholders. Of course, the role of GTI, of course, the role of such type of organizations can put more pressure, However, the role of government, especially the regular PTA and FAB, would be pivotal under, current economical situation. So when we talk about this recommendations, they are divided into 2 important parts. One is the policy making, and another one is that how our ecosystem is ready, for the 5G. So when we talk about the policy readiness, there are 3 areas to be covered on. The first part is about the 5G spectrum policy. And in that part, we need to focus on the low, medium, high frequency bands. So over here, the first suggestion would be to clear the frequencies in advance and ensure no interference, because this is something we have experienced in the past, especially when we talk about 2.1 gigahertz spectrum when we use for 3G. When we acquired this spectrum, we found that it is interfered from that part. So this is something very important. This time we should do a proper homework and make all the spectrum which is eligible for 5G clean. And of course, a very important thing is reasonable 5G spectrum fee and the charging methods are very important for 5G spectrum policy. When we talk about 5G infrastructure policy, yes, it's also very important. And in this policy, we would like that the government should encourage all operators to share their sites, especially tower merchant allowing operators. And in this part, the role of government is extremely pivotal, like to provide green light infrastructure, 5G infrastructure for construction. Similarly, a very important thing about the 5G construction incentives and driving policy is about ensuring the ICIC restrictions on import quotas of the telecommunication industry incentives. This is a very important part, and it really impacts the cost and really impacts the readiness, from the launch perspective. Pakistan ARPU is the lowest in the world, so there's a need to revise the policy to increase the tariff, especially for 4G and 5G. And the important thing is that the availability of 700 megahertz band, which is right now not with us, it is in the possession of confidential companies. So this part is going to help us to improve the overall 5G, especially in the rural areas of Pakistan, which is around 60% in terms of population in the rural areas of Pakistan. And very important part is about the implementation of industrial tariffs, especially for NAPRA, because at the moment the cost of electricity is very high because of the tariff they have assigned to us. So if government is going to declare the status as industry to telecom operators, especially this NAPRA, which is National Electric Power Regulatory Authority of Pakistan, they're going to subsidize the overall unit price of electricity, and that can really helpful to all operators to bring down this cost of operation for upcoming 5G. And the last part is about the ecosystem readiness. So you see this trend, if you talk about overall in Pakistan, still we have 46% devices, 2G only devices at the moment, and only 1% local manufactured 5G terminals are supporting at the moment. So this is a very small percentage, and on the 2G side, it's also on the higher side. So we at the moment suggest that in Pakistan the broadband penetration is around 1.8%. So it's an opportunity actually. Built on the TDD1 network dual use architecture, 4G, 5G, FWA wireless broadband services are developed to meet the broadband requirements of homes and SMEs and promote the development of CP devices ecosystem. The same thing we have done for the 4G system. Thank you very much.